When I was baptized December 12th, 1986, I had a rough little first month where I kind of wanted to turn my back because it was just too hard. Celibacy. That by itself was like, oh, I'm 22 years old. What are you talking about? And I was very active in college. And so it's, but when I realized the decision I was making to stay faithful to Jesus and God, the decision I was making was gonna translate into my whole family. And so when I told the guy, that studied the Bible with me, look, I appreciate what people are sharing with me, but this is just not for me. And he goes, well, it's really sad, Lou, that you've decided to turn your back on God. He goes, but your little brother? I said, yeah. He said, he's gonna follow you. He's gonna follow you to hell. And I'm like, oh my gosh, and a lot of times people can look at that as, wow, how manipulative. No, truth is truth. Either you believe it or not.
Right.
Truth is truth. Are you going to lead the way to righteousness in heaven,
right,
or are you going to go down to the road of perdition? You've been down that road. You know where it goes.
Right.
You almost died doing cocaine, you dummy. And you're going to go and choose, that darkness again. And it broke me. It broke me at the age of 22. And I never looked back. I said, I'm going to stay faithful to the day I die. And God, in his faithfulness, brought all my family into the kingdom. So it's like, wow.
And I think it's something that's that holds true, right? I'm not sure how much that pastor knows much about you, but from your childhood, you really wanted to lead, right? You really were a big thing about trying to show your little brother, obviously show your sister that, hey, look, I'll be the example. So one of the things that, especially like hearing the word, right, speaking through people, right, God has a tendency to do that.
He does.
It's interesting to hear that you're kind of hearing the voice of like, continue to lead, continue pushing forward, continue trying to kind of do the right thing, lead by example, and in your path of which, and obviously even as you mentioned, like even during this time, you're not living the best life. So, but it's this goal of always trying to be better. Yeah. That pressure didn't break you. That pressure wasn't like, because that seems like a lot to put on your shoulders.
It's Jovonni, it's true. I think the reality is this: I'm living my best life now because not only am I going to church, not only am I preaching and teaching, not only am I counseling others and helping others, but I myself am being counseled. I myself am being helped. I myself have a group of men that I meet with every morning. And we go and we talk about, the things that are going on in our hearts, in our lives, and how to maintain our sexual purity. It's I don't know if any other church is doing it. I don't know if any other group of guys that even deals with this.
Sure.
And so you can be successful. You can get the help you need if you're honest and if you realize I can't do this by myself. We call it in recovery, we call it higher power. I call it God and Jesus, but to understand God and Jesus and the practicals, it's one thing to know the principles,
right,
which is wonderful. But how do I apply these things daily? Given my nature,
sure,
given who I am in my flesh,
right,
it's a whole different story. But then you get the practicals from people who've been down that road. It is life-changing. And I think that's why my conscience is clear. My relationship with my wife is better than it's ever been. There's transparency between us that never existed before. And there's connection and healing and, nothing but faith, hope, and love, and it's just it began with the scriptures, but, it's kind of expanded out to different people who in different walks of life who I've allowed to help me because I'm a person. I'm a work in progress. I've achieved a lot. I've done a lot of great things.
Right.
I even wrote the anthem for our church movement. And I'll sing it for you if you'd like me to. But no, and so God's done a lot of great things through me and helped a lot of people. But He continues to help me, and not just me and Him. It ain't about that. No, it's me and Him and the body of Christ. People say, oh, yeah, Jesus, yes, the church, no. What? No, impossible. You got to have a relationship with Jesus, but you got to have a relationship in the body and people that you can talk to when you're in need.
Right.
And I got that. And I think that makes all the difference in the world. There's a lot of guys go to church, and peace be with you is their only interaction. They don't know you outside. You got your church friends, and then you got your real friends. It was never meant to be that way, and yet that's what it's become when you replace relationship with God with religion. And I did that for years, and now I don't do it. So I just thank God for that. So yeah, that's why I believe I'm living my best life now.
So you mentioned going through this journey. Where does your kind of wife fit in the picture? How did that kind of come into play?
My wife is, since we first went out in 89, 90.
Wait, so this is during college, right? Or
this is after this is after grad school.
After grad school,
So
excuse me.
I was in Boston, finished, got my master's degree. Then we planted a church in Los Angeles.
Oh, okay.
In 1989, called the Los Angeles Church of Christ, and we started with 15 people. Meeting at an elementary school called Fairburn Elementary, 50 people. And in the next 11 years, the church was 10,000 meeting at the LA Convention Center.
Wow.
And matter of fact, we had a special service in the Rose Bowl. With about 18,000 people. And it was just amazing. And that dream continues to be mine. And eventually 18,000, the Rose Bowl was only part of it.
Right.
I'd love to fill that bad boy one day. But, we'll see how that all works out. But it's been an incredible journey for me and an exciting one. And like I said, it can only be done through the power of God.
Yeah.
It can only be done through the power of the body of Christ working together with an individual.
And so did you guys meet at church, you and your wife?
We met at church. She was at Mount St. Mary's in Brentwood. I was at the UCLA campus ministry working for Mayor Tom Bradley.
Oh, wow.
You probably don't even know who that is.
No, this was in the late 90s.
90s. Yeah, 90s when I worked for him, and they named the airport after him. The Bradley.
Yeah.
That's my old boss. So I right after Harvard, I worked for him, had a wonderful job, and that's when I left politics to go into the full-time ministry. And it was also in 92, I was in LA for the riots, which is another, wow, what an experience that was. But yeah, God has moved me into incredible positions, to have an impact for him. But he's through the Holy Spirit, he's guided me all the whole way. And once again, you can't do it by yourself.
Sure.
This journey has got to be traveled with men and women who love you. And so my wife and I met at UCLA campus ministry, fell in love, went on our first date in 1990 and got married in 1993.
Wow.
Yeah, in South Central LA, of all places, Southgate, actually. She got married in Southgate.
And what's kind of her personality like?
Next year will be 30 years.
30 years?
30 years.
Yo.
Yeah.
Yesterday I had Mr. Burke on. He was married. He's been married for about 36 years.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is that you never hear people being married for that long, let alone 10 years, if that, 30 years. That's a commitment.
Marriage is work. Marriage is a commitment. And we've worked through it. And there, obviously, it hasn't been easy for my wife.
Yeah.
When you're married to an addict, and you're dealing with this, and you're coming to, realization, and then you start working together. And I think that's what makes the difference. Working together.
Sure.
And having a transparency and having a connection. We have a closer relationship than we've ever had before. But it didn't come without, its battles.
Sure.
And a lot of my friends are divorced. A lot of my friends, you have to make a commitment, say, do we want this to work?
Right.
And if we want this to work, you both have to work at it. Okay, what do we need to do to make that happen? And we're both committed to it. And she's a superstar. And what she's like personality-wise, she's got a heart of gold. She loves to hike. She loves to dance. She's got a beautiful speaking voice. I hope you guys get to interview her one day. But she is a Native American.
Oh, yeah, you mentioned this.
Yes, Native American / French Canadian. And she grew up in Pomona.
Oh, okay.
And then from Pomona went to Mount St. Mary's. And she was actually born in Phoenix. But after Mount St. Mary's, she married me. and left school for a little while, and then she went back and finished her bachelor's degrees. Then got her master's degree at USC
Oh, wow.
in gerontology, and right now she's working on her PhD at Grand Canyon University.
GCU.
Yeah,
Yo.
that's exactly right.
Hey, we were in Tempe, Arizona.
Okay.
Yeah, so we were there for about 4 years, 5
Wow.
years. It's one of the beautiful things about Arizona, man. It's just like they have this really good way of, obviously, you know, Yuma, your family's kind of out there.
Absolutely, yeah.
Arizona keeps calling you, you know.
We love it. We go there, and we go over to Chinle, where her
Okay.
family is, in Four Corners, and visit family there at times, and it's just wonderful to be on the reservation.
Yeah.
It's just
Just the land.
whole another. So now she's getting her PhD, and I'm just so probably gonna have to call her Dr. Martinez.
Yeah,
So that'll be awesome. I look forward to that. But I'm so proud of my wife. She is my absolute best friend. We've worked through so much together. And because of our transparency, we have a closer relationship than ever before.
Right.
And now we can help other people.
Sure.
Help other people that are going through it right now. So many couples are going through it.
Right.
You don't know about it. You're not going to hear about it on
Right,
Facebook.
right,
'Cause they're
right.
going through it. I was talking to a dear friend of mine who I love to death, and he's just decided he's going to settle to just live with the woman.
Mm.
And I'm like, they got a kid together, and it's like, you're just going to live there? No chance at reconciliation or friendship or anything? No, and I thought, it's just a sad existence.
Yeah.
And he's not the only friend like that.
Yeah.
I've got a few that are outside the church. In the church, we deal with it.
Right.
And I think that's what makes the church a lot different, is that you can't be in the church and live in sin. You just can't. You got to get help. And if you don't want to get help, you're going to lose your marriage. You're going to eventually lose your relationship with God.
Sure.
And I think that's what so many Christians they run into. They think, oh, God didn't fix me or train me. You didn't do the work. There's work to be done in every marriage, in every relationship.
Right.
Anything that's worthwhile, there's work to be done. But you got to be connected to your God, and you got to be connected to the right people to help you.
Yeah, I think community is something that's
It's huge.
I think we're sitting down with I had a Miss Akrami. She's been on one of our shows as well, and she's a huge follower of faith. And one of the things that she was mentioning is that community is something that's not where it used to be. You have the internet, right? Obviously, internet, and it's very easy to find your people within the internet's world, but it's very also easy to kind of get sucked in a whole different world as well. Like if you're not intentional about how to use it, then you don't really have this connection of what's going on. Like I can tell you a ton of people who I play this game, like this card game, right? I can tell you all their names. I can tell you all who won the tournament last week. I can tell you all that, right? But I couldn't even tell you my neighbor's name.
Yeah.
I can't even tell you when his birthday is.
Yeah.
I never brought like, hey, you need sugar or like flour, It's the neighbor right next door I know less about than all these other people around me.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing that I think church kind of does. I don't know if you have kids or
3 kids.
So having them kind of live in this community that you kind of been able to kind of be a part of, how do you think that's has changed them? And not only that, what is your sense of like the community of being in kind of I know you just moved from DC back out to here, kind of finding a new community, finding a new sense of like people connection and individual. Like what's your mindset on community?
Great question, Jovonni. So community is essential.
Right.
And community is the body of Christ. And you cannot have community. You cannot have Christ if you don't have community. You just can't. He never meant it. I mean, he was one man, but he chose 12.
Right.
And the reason he chose 12 was because of community. And so you realize that community is so incredibly important in raising your kids and doing what you do. My kids, I love them to death. They are superstars.
Right.
They are incredibly talented. Oh gosh, musicians extraordinaire.
Yeah.
One of them's a dancer / stuntman. So he's amazing. He went to the American Musical and Dramatic Academy in Hollywood. So he got his degree there, and right now he's building his own business. As I
that's
was
awesome.
sharing with you a little bit, and it'll be it's a multimedia business. And so they all grew up in the church, and they all had their different experiences.
Right.
Very interestingly. they've all decided to not be part of the church. They did not want to walk down that path.
Sure, sure.
And you can't, as a parent, you can't make them.
Right.
The Bible says, train a child in the way he should go. And when he is old, he will not turn from it. Well, my kids aren't old, and they've all decided to go their own way. And so that's kind of where they're at right now. But, Kathy and I, as believers, we know that, listen, we just keep shining the light, and we keep working on us.
Right.
Working on our relationship. There certainly were things in our relationship that were hurtful to them. They saw a lot of our devotion to church and to the work we do as taking away from them growing up. So, and there's some truth to that, and I think, to try to find the balance in your life where your kids feel like, they're just as important as the kids in church, and so, that has been a bit of a challenge, but all of them have done well. They're all great kids. They're all very compassionate. My daughter's at Humboldt State, finishing up her degree in Native American Studies, and my son LT, he went to American Musical and Dramatic Academy, and then my son Philip Lorenzo is right now. He just drove here from D.C.
Oh, yeah.
He drove all the way here by himself. Broke up after a breakup with his girlfriend, 3 years, and just broke his heart. And he just had to get away. So he drove all the way over here. Now he's living with us. He's 20. He's very young. He's 20, and he's dabbled in a number of different things, including becoming a chef.
Oh, yeah.
So working on that. But he's decided, I don't want to go the education path. I do not want to come out of college, $250,000 in debt and then work for $25,000 a year, because I don't want to do that. It makes no sense, because I want to do something where I'm making money now. Yeah. So he's looking at electrician school. He's looking at a variety of things right now. And he's
trade is always good, right?
And I think that's the way he wants to go.
And so I actually have a question here. You're kind of in a fatherhood, right? And also your journey, obviously, through the Lord and Christ and your Christian faith. What do you kind of see? Do you kind of see like you picked up some things from your parents? Because I know your father, you mentioned, was like your mother had a very big nobility about trying to pass that. Sure, faith is not always something that they didn't push, obviously they brought you there and stuff. But I think the character of what they were trying to pass down, is there any like qualities that you were able to kind of gain from your parents and be able to kind of pass it down to your children, or qualities?
Without a doubt. Yeah. My mom and dad were very hard workers, especially mom. I mean, they both were. But, the work ethic was definitely something that they instilled in us. The pride and the gratitude of being born in America always was something huge to them. They said, my dad always told me, you're Chicano, you're Mexican American. He says, but you were born here, and you need to be grateful for that. And the fact that, the opportunities here are tremendous because of, our American way of life. So as proud as he was to, be Chicano, he always said, be grateful that you're in America. And my mom, same way. She came from a situation in which in Samoa, she got a scholarship to University of Hawaii because she lived in Honolulu for a while. She got a scholarship, and she couldn't take it because the family said women don't go to college. And it was really tragic, for mom. So that's when she left and joined the army. Yeah. So that was her rebellion. She got out of there. And then she eventually ended working for the city of Buena Park engineering department. And she did a lot of the engineers' work. And they were like, how do you know that? She was just that bright. Right. She just never got her degree, sadly. But so all of that, it comes together to make us, So, the hard work ethic we pass on to the kids, loving life, enjoying life, loving people, caring about people, and serving people. My mom and dad served so many people. We were growing up through a group called the Cousins Club. They did so much good work through that organization to serve the poor and the less fortunate. And that stuck with all of us. And I think all of us are like that, even including my kids. My kids are very, well, it's funny, they differ, but my daughter's, kind of, I guess what you'd call a tree hugger. My son, LT, he's the oldest, is kind of way left of center. And then my son, Philip, is way right. So, and they all grew up in the same house.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Which is like, how in the world does that happen? How do you get these different perspectives, because I think Mom and I created, even though we wanted them all to become Christians and get baptized, they decided on a different route. And
Yeah.
we look at that and say, what was our journey like?
Mm.
God, what was my journey like?
Right.
Okay, kids, do what you need to do, pursue your dreams. We're going to be here to support you in whatever way we can, but understand every decision you make, there's a consequence.
Right.
There's a consequence. And we're living it.
Right.
We're living it ourselves. So we know that. So we're trying to, pass on to them hard work, do what you love, and but take full responsibility for the decisions you make. Because when you play the victim, forget it. You've lost before you've even begun to fight. Don't play the victim.
I think one of the things is hearing your story, which I've actually kind of learned something here. It's like you have this balance, right? Where you recognize that, like, hey, look, your path, right, worked really hard when you were young to get to kind of the position where you were. You obviously you had some demons that you were fighting, but you don't judge, right? You're not really judging anyone. You don't judge anyone. Everything, every comment about, I haven't seen you say not one, like, you know what, this guy, you know what I mean? Like, there's no sense of just like, and I imagine obviously, you probably have some people in your life that, I don't keep around, but it's really cool to kind of see the perspective, just like, hey, there's individuals in that you've experienced, and you find the qualities about them that, like, hey, look, we all have things we're working on, but there's great things about there's great things about you, there's great things about this, and so that perspective of seeing the positive of almost every scenario. How do you become that strong? Like, where did that really come from? Do you feel like it was more of a family thing, more of a faith thing, more of a education thing? Like, where do you kind of feel like that piece of?
Great question. And I think it's definitely a combination of everything. I think the scriptures are very clear in terms of principles and what you want to be, and then the practicals. You get the practicals from a variety of groups. Sometimes it's 12-step recovery groups. Sometimes it's support groups. A lot of it comes from family and experience. There was I'm a vocalist. So I sing, and one of my favorite vocalists is Donny Hathaway.
Oh,
and Donny Hathaway sang this song, "A Song for You." And he said this, there's this great line in the song. He says, "I know your image of me is what I hope to be." And I thought, that's like my life. That's my life. I know your image of me is what I hope to be. A lot of people had an image of me because I was the captain of the football team, because I was the ASB president, because I was most likely to succeed or whatever. And, and I went to Harvard and it's like, all these things where people, they have this image of you, and I sing this song. I say, I know your image of me is what I hope to be. I've said it to my wife, my kids. It's like that's who I am. There's something I want to be. There's something I am, and then there's that path.
Right.
There's that journey, and this journey has happened for the past 58 years. And since becoming a Christian, 35 years with Christ's help and the Word of God and the Holy Spirit, and then, I want to say since 2001, the different recovery programs that I've gone through in my own journey, and now I'm at this place where it's like, wow, I feel like I can really help and teach others. So it's a combination of everything.
You're not angry though. You're not angry that you lost your sister. You're not angry that your father's no longer here. You're not. There's no sense of just like, you know what, man. You don't blame the government. You're political, right? You don't blame the government for your sister.
Right.
There's no one like. There's no. I'm waiting for the drama. Where's the? I'm joking.
No, this is no because to think that doesn't exist. It does exist, but there's a group of friends that I talk to about all this stuff. There's a group of friends that I talk to when I have these, the issues I have with Joe Biden. There's a group I talk to when I talk about, my supervisors, my boss, and stuff like that, and the leadership of the church and the politics. People say, well, there are no politics in church. You ain't been to church lately. There's plenty of politics. Whatever there's people, there's politics. And, they teach you, in recovery, one of the first things they teach you is like, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. That right there is like, it's it's not in the Proverbs, but it should be, because there's brilliance there. There's brilliance there, and it has to do with trying to live a good life, but knowing that you're a broken and flawed human being. And the quicker you get with a community of people who aren't playing games, who aren't living the facade, who are ready to get real and open and honest and get help and get change, and then celebrate each other's recovery, celebrate each other's growth, progress, victories. That it all comes together. And so, yeah, I have issues. I have bitterness and resentment that I've had to deal with, but I'm dealing with it. If I wasn't dealing with it, oh my, you can believe I probably wouldn't be here. What would I talk to you for?
Right.
I'm gonna spend my time with you. I got money to make. I got all the different things, and I looked at this as a tremendous opportunity to share about me and about life and about letting people know that what we're doing in the community. And I'm kind of a product of what we're doing. And so this ain't get rich quick.
Yeah.
This ain't get healed overnight.
Right.
This is life in progress. This is a work in progress.
Right.
And wherever you're at, God can take you and transform you. But it's going to take work on your part and on the part of the people that that you decide to trust. If you don't trust anybody, gosh, best wishes,
Right.
because I can't do it without people.